and a warm welcome to this brand new edition of news. I am Griha Atul Siddiqui and you're watching Nation Tonight, a space where we serve you news minus the clutter. And that 1 hour which is going to be your one-stop destination for getting a lowdown of the day's developments. Let's begin with the top story, and it is all about COVID numbers that keep growing and the curves that are slowly coming back in various states. And it all begins with the very pertinent advice, an advice that we have been standing by here on Mirror Now as we say, don't drop your mask. So India has logged about 2,500, in fact 3,000 fresh COVID cases in the last 24 hours. Now, most of them are from the national capital, followed by Haryana, Kerala, and then Uttar Pradesh. So this is how the number of positive cases stand as of today. Delhi is at 1,367, which is the highest daily tally for the national capital in 2 weeks. Haryana stands at 517 new COVID cases, while Kerala is reporting 255 of those, and Uttar Pradesh is reporting 211 of those. Maharashtra, in fact, is at 154 new COVID cases. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a meeting today with all the chief ministers of the states and union territories to review the COVID situation across the country. Reiterating the track, test and treat strategy, Prime Minister Modi urged everyone to follow the COVID-appropriate behavior at public places. In fact, the Prime Minister emphasized on the need to scale up medical infrastructure and manpower. And just as is being indicated by sources that vaccine booster dose gap is now being reduced by 3 months from 9 months to 6 months, even the Prime Minister cautioned teachers, parents and every eligible person to take the booster shots, especially as the schools reopen.
ये स्पष्ट है कि कोरोना की चुनौती अभी पूरी तरह से टली नहीं है। ओमिक्रॉन और उसके सब वेरिएंट्स किस तरह गंभीर परिस्थिति पैदा कर सकते हैं, ये यूरोप के देशों में हम देख रहे हैं। पिछले कुछ महीनों में कुछ देशों में इन सब वेरिएंट्स की वजह से कई सर्ज आए हैं। हम भारतवासियों ने कई देशों की तुलना में अपने देश में हालात को काफी बेहतर और नियंत्रण में रखा है। इन सब के बावजूद पिछले 2 हफ्तों से जिस तरह से कुछ राज्यों में केसेस बढ़ रहे हैं, उससे हमें अलर्ट रहने की जरूरत है।
Let's now get you a state-wise update on how the curbs are returning. Kerala has made wearing masks in public places and work spaces and also the vehicles compulsory. Now, as per the order by the Disaster Management Department, strict action will be taken against those who violate the order. My colleague Vivek now joins me live on the broadcast for more on this. Vivek, what is the kind of penalty that people who actually go ahead and violate the mask mandate in Kerala, people in Kerala are really looking at?
Yes, as far as Kerala is concerned, today a circular has been released by the Disaster Management Department, which clearly mandates that masks should be worn in public spaces, be it in any public platform, be it while you're driving, and also in any place that mask has been made mandatory. It also stated that those people who don't wear mask, there will be stringent action that will be initiated against them as per the Disaster Management Act. Now, ironically, there is, usually when a circular comes like this, the fine amount, what will be the amount of fine that will be charged on each person should have been mentioned, but that's not yet mentioned. What we understand is that by tomorrow you'll get a clear picture of, what is the fine amount. But Health Minister Veena George has made it very, very clear that even though the number of cases has been decreasing in Kerala, the government has now decided that masks should be made mandatory because the callousness among the public is very visible if you look at the last few months, especially during festival seasons, during Vishu and many other occasions. You can see people, not wearing masks even in ceremonies, in marriages, in functions. especially in festivals, in temples and all. There has been n number of instances that's been noticed where people don't even wear masks. Yes, a few days back, the government has also said that there won't be any cases that's been registered or fine that will be charged if there is no mask. But that does not mean that you cannot lower your guard, and that's the reason why the health minister yesterday in a meeting has clearly informed that people are supposed to be aware of what happened in the first three waves, the COVID waves, and after that the lockdown has to be implemented. So basically, this time in the circular, it's very clearly mentioned that people are mandated to wear masks in public spaces while driving, and in everywhere that people are supposed to wear a mask, and if not, there will be a fine that will be imposed on them, and by tomorrow morning you'll get a clear picture on what is the fine amount, and hence this time around the Kerala government has also decided that the infrastructure of the hospitals, especially primary health centers, needs to be upgraded, and also masks and other equipments needs to be provided for the health officials. Earlier there has been number of complaints that's been raised on the quality of the equipments that's been used by the doctors, and they have raised this issue in number of platforms. But now the government has decided that all these needs to be sorted out, and the state government is also expecting the central government's cooperation as far as COVID management is concerned. Back to you.
All right, Vivek, thank you so much for taking a stock of what is the situation looking like in the state of Kerala. Let's now find out what is happening in Maharashtra, because we have been told that the Maharashtra task force has made these recommendations that the mask mandate needs to be brought back to the state. But what is the situation actually like, and what has been decided after that meeting that Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray really held with the district collector? Let's find out from my colleague Sandeep, who's joining me live. Sandeep, what came out of that meeting?
See, a meeting was held with the district collector, wherein Chief Minister chaired that meeting, and in fact Rajesh Tope, the health minister, also was present in the meeting. Now the Chief Minister of Maharashtra has said that we have written a letter to centre in regards to reduce the time period of booster vaccination from 9 months, and they have he has also asked the district collectors to work on more and more vaccination, although he has appealed people to make sure we wear masks and do not get into such a situation wherein the government have to forcefully impose restrictions. So as far as today's meeting is concerned, things have been addressed by a Chief Minister to all the district collectors, and he has asked everyone to get on work. Now, as far as Maharashtra is concerned, around 186 cases has been recorded and 112 cases has been recorded in Mumbai itself. So definitely a major matter of concern, and tomorrow is a cabinet meet, and important decision like making mask mandatory is expected tomorrow, although it was expected today, but so far there hasn't been any kind of confirmation given by the state government. But yes, we can expect that a decision over making mask mandatory can be taken by the state government tomorrow.
All right, Sandeep, thank you so much for joining us with all those details. And we were just talking about that COVID review meet that the Prime Minister presided over. That, in fact, ended up turning into a heated argument as the Prime Minister chose to talk about the rising fuel prices. So fuel price hike has become the latest flashpoint between the central government and the non-BJP ruled states. Now, during his meeting with all the chief ministers, Prime Minister Modi urged the states to reduce VAT, which is imposed by the states, and also transfer the benefits to people. He particularly named opposition ruled states of Maharashtra, West Bengal and Telangana, among others. Prime Minister Modi said that the centre had reduced the excise duty on petrol and diesel in November, but the relief hasn't been passed on to the consumers because the states have not reduced the tax.
पेट्रोल डीजल की बढ़ती कीमत का बोझ कम करने के लिए केंद्र सरकार ने एक्साइज ड्यूटी में कमी की थी, पिछले नवंबर महीने में कम की थी। केंद्र सरकार ने राज्यों से भी आग्रह किया था कि वो अपने यहां टैक्स कम करे और ये बेनिफिट नागरिकों को ट्रांसफर करे। इसके बाद कुछ राज्यों ने तो भारत सरकार की इस भावना के अनुरूप यहां टैक्स कम कर दिया, लेकिन कुछ राज्यों द्वारा अपने राज्य के लोगों को इसका कोई लाभ नहीं दिया गया। इस वजह से पेट्रोल डीजल की कीमतें इन राज्यों में अब भी दूसरों के मुकाबले कहीं ज्यादा है। ये एक तरह से इन राज्यों के लोगों के साथ अन्याय तो है ही, साथ ही पड़ोसी राज्यों को भी नुकसान पहुंचाता है।
And like I mentioned, Prime Minister's comments have attracted massive criticism from opposition leaders. From alleging stepmotherly treatment to blaming them for rising inflation, the opposition leaders have come down heavily on the centre. Let's play out those reactions that have made a beeline right after the COVID review meet addressed by the Prime Minister turned into the centre's defence for the fuel price rise.
तुम गुजरात को कितना रुपया दिया? हमारा कोई एतराज नहीं है, दे दो जितना भी मर्जी। यूपी को कितना दिया? महाराष्ट्र को कितना दिया? बंगाल को कितना दिया? जो ऑपोजिशन स्टेट है उसको अब रुपया देते नहीं, लेते हैं। और इसका बाद हम आ भी करते हैं तो हो जाता है चर्चा। आप कोतल भी करते हैं तो नहीं होता है बदनाम।
First, he advised his party governments in Karnataka, in Uttarakhand, in Himachal Pradesh, in Madhya Pradesh. If he reduces, then if he asks others, they will do it. We all should work for the welfare of the people instead of putting blame on each other.
उसको भी जीएसटी के दायरे में ले आए, सारी चीजों को ले आए जीएसटी के दायरे में और एक नीति का निर्धारण कर दें पूरे देश के लिए, तब तो ये समझा जाएगा कि प्रधानमंत्री जी सही कह रहे हैं।
He is very particularly quoting only the opposition ruled states to reduce. Not even Gujarat nor Karnataka or Madhya Pradesh or Uttar Pradesh. Whether he can say that they will also reduce their tax? No, he will not. So the quantum of what collected by the government of India is much more, is 3 times than what is collected by the states.
My colleague Tamal now joins me on the phone line for more on this. Tamal, we had seen a very, very stinging criticism by the West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee in that press conference that she addressed, pretty much on similar lines after Maharashtra, but something that we all were expecting.
Well, that's right. In fact, we have seen in the past as how all the opposition parties have slammed the steady hike in fuel prices, just not in the year 2022, but also in 2021. In the month of July, at least there had been 8 subsequent hikes in fuel prices. And we had also seen how Chief Minister of West Bengal, Mamata Banerjee, on 5th of July had written a letter to the Prime Minister calling it a cruel hike and calling it anti-people. But then after the Prime Minister had in a way passed the buck on the state government, suggesting that the state government should be reducing the VAT, Mamata Banerjee, like the other opposition-ruled states, had also hit back at the central government, and she has cited certain statistics. She is suggesting that since 2014, after Prime Minister Modi became the Prime Minister and the BJP government came to power, the central government, through excise on petrol and diesel, had earned revenues more than 17 lakh crore rupees. Then she is also alleging that as far as distribution of funds are concerned, or revenues are concerned to states, there has been a disparity, what she termed as a stepfatherly treatment to opposition-ruled states, including the state of West Bengal. She suggested the 97,000 crore is the amount that the centre owes to state in various forms, including GST amount due. So basically, she is suggesting that states like Gujarat, Uttar Pradesh have been able to get some rebate because they have been receiving money funds from the central government quite steadily. However, states like West Bengal, Maharashtra have not really been receiving that support. The reason why she thinks it was nothing but an agenda that was driven by the Prime Minister. She also kind of slammed the Prime Minister to have raised this issue in a COVID meeting.
All right, Tamal, thank you so much for joining us with all those details there. In fact, very, very pointed arguments that are coming from various non-BJP ruled states. And one such argument has come from the TRS working president, KTR, as well. He, in fact, has responded to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And in a tweet, he has said, and I quote him here, "We don't get 41% of our rightful share because of the cess imposed by your government. In the form of cess, you are looting 11.4% from the state, and we are getting only 29.6% for the financial year 2023. Please scrap cess so we can give petrol at 70 and diesel at 60 all over India. One nation, one price," unquote. This is the argument that KTR has presented. To actually speak more about it, I'm now joined on the broadcast by my colleague Shomit. Shomit, this is again on similar lines. However, it was much expected. You know, the centre now has to deal with ample criticism coming its way in the wake of these very, very pointed arguments.
Well, true. You know, since months we are seeing this stand from the state government, and you have just quoted the KTR, and he also said that Telangana state hasn't increased VAT on fuel since around 2014. Like it came into power in 2013, and after 2014, it has never increased any price on any VAT on the fuel prices. However, even few months ago, when this was reduced by the central government, even at that time, BJP has mounted a pressure on Telangana government as well as on the Andhra government to reduce the prices, like reduce the taxes. But they in reverse said that central government should reduce the excess tax they are leveling in. And you just quoted him, KTR, saying that we are not getting 41%, which is the rightful share, but only we are getting around 29.6. And also KCR has responded just in a plenary meeting, stating that Prime Minister Modi's meeting with Chief Minister as drama conference. He called it as a drama conference. Actually, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has called a meeting with the chief ministers, on COVID, on COVID discussion. But KCR has stated that that is a drama conference, and he also stated that we never increased fuel prices, and aren't you shameful, of increasing prices and also asking states to decrease? How is it possible? And we will be not going to decrease it. And this was a stand since many months by the Telangana state.
All right, Shomit, thank you so much for joining us with all those details there. In fact, what is the government's counter? Let's take a look at that as BJP leader Amit Malviya has now hit back after all these reactions have come in from the various states, and he has taken to Twitter and he said, and I quote him here, "The revenue foregone by the government of India due to fuel tax cut is approximately 1 lakh crore per year. 11,398 crore has been foregone by BJP ruled states alone. However, 7 states, namely Maharashtra, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Kerala and Jharkhand have not cut their rates even now. By not cutting taxes on fuel, these states have earned an extra approximately 11,945 crores compared to other states that have cut fuel taxes," unquote. Let's now take a look at something else that resonated in that COVID review meeting. It was the fire that erupted at one of Chennai's oldest hospitals. Now, around 11 a.m. in the morning today, a fire was reported at Chennai's Rajiv Gandhi Government Hospital. 33 patients who were undergoing treatment at the hospital were immediately shifted to a safer place. Now, according to the authorities, the fire broke out in one of the older buildings where surgery equipments were kept. No injuries or casualties were thankfully reported in this mishap. However, a short circuit is likely to be the cause of this fire that had broken out at the hospital. However, there is still no certainty of what really caused this particular fire at Chennai's oldest hospital.
We are in assembly that we came to know there was a fire incident happened in Rajiv Gandhi Medical College Hospital, and Honorable LOP Edapadiyar and Honorable Deputy LOP OPS has instructed us, the whole MLA team and former Minister Kadambur Raju, we all here to analyze the situation and to reduce the tension for the patient who all affected in the fire incident. And we came to know the fire incident started from a medical store and the old building. So Honorable Madam Period, we have given a new Tower 1, Tower 2, and Honorable Edapadiyar has given Tower 3 and all new buildings given in ADMK government. So it has to be avoided. So because patients are here and patient attenders also here per day, more than 10 to 15,000 populations entering in Rajiv Gandhi Medical College. It has to be avoided. It has to be monitored by the medical PWD as well as medical electrical wing and as well as the Dean and administration.
இப்போ இந்த ஃபயர் முழுமையா கட்டுக்குள் வந்த பிறகு நாங்க நேரடியாக ஒவ்வொரு ரூமுக்கும் போய் ஆய்வு மேற்கொண்டு முதல் கட்ட ஆய்வு மேற்கொண்டு வந்தோம். டீடைலா இந்த சேஃப்டி ஆடிட் அண்ட் இண்டிவிஜுவல் ரூம் ஆய் செப்பரேட்டா நடக்கும். முதல் தளத்தில் 33 பேஷண்ட்ஸ் இருந்தாங்க, 3 ஐசியூ பேஷண்ட்ஸ் உட்பட இது நியூரோ ஐசியூ. அந்த அனைத்து பேஷண்ட்களும் எங்க முதல் கட்ட பாதிப்பு ஏற்பட்டதோ உடனடியாக 11:30க்குள்ளேயே அவங்கள எவாக்குவேட் பண்ணிட்டாங்க. அதே மாதிரி பிஜி ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ் சிலர் அந்த பகுதியில் பாதிக்கப்பட்ட பகுதியில் ரெஸ்கியூல இருந்தாங்க. அவங்களும் வெளியில கொண்டு வரப்பட்டு அவங்களும் நல்ல முறையில் பக்கத்து வேற இதுல ஒரு அப்சர்வேஷன்ஸுக்கு வச்சிருக்கோம்.
My colleague Dharani was at the incident site at about 11 this morning when this fire really broke out at the hospital. Let's take a look at the report that she's got for us.
Around 11 a.m. today, a fire broke out at Tower 2 of the Rajiv Gandhi Government Hospital here in Chennai. And as we can see in the visuals, so this is the particular building where the fire broke out, and it's all black in color. Around 5 vehicles from the fire department are now here in the spot, and they were trying to put down the fire as soon as it broke out. So right now, as we can see in the visuals, the building is completely black in color, and it was all smoke here. Until a few moments back. So hundreds of police personnel and fire department personnel are right now in this spot, trying to bring the situation back to normal. And it is said that 33 patients were inside this block when the fire broke out, and all of them have been, safely evacuated to a better spot now. So they are safe now, and so far at this point of time, no casualty has been reported. No injury has also been reported. As soon as the fire broke out, all the patients who were inside this block, it is said to be 33. So they were all evacuated to a safer spot, and they are in a safe spot now. So no casualty is reported at this point of time, fortunately. But however, as we can see, the fire department personnel are still trying to put down the smoke, because the fire has actually been put out completely, but it's all smoke here inside. We cannot see the smoke outside, but inside the building it's full of smoke, and the fire department personnel, they are trying to bring the situation back to normal inside the building also. So in another side of the building, this is actually the front side of the building that we are seeing in the visuals right now. So in the back side, in the other side of the building, hundreds of patients they were also moved to a safer spot using ladders. So ladders were deployed throughout this building. Multiple ladders were deployed upon this building on the back side, and hundreds of patients, they were also moved to a safer spot.
You just saw that report that colleague Dharani filed for you. That was around 11 this morning, and that was the kind of intensity that this fire had at Chennai's oldest hospital. So while that incident of the Chennai fire happened, the Prime Minister happened to preside over that very COVID review meeting, and he used the platform to speak about conducting regular safety checks at hospitals, urging all the states to get all the safety audits of the hospitals done on a priority basis to prevent fire incidents which have been increasing due to the heat wave.
देश में गर्मी तेजी से बढ़ रही है और समय से पहले बहुत गर्मी बढ़ रही है, और ऐसे समय में हम अलग अलग स्थानों पर आग की बढ़ती हुई घटनाएं भी देख रहे हैं. जंगलों में, महत्वपूर्ण इमारतों में, अस्पतालों में आग की कई घटनाएं बीते कुछ दिनों में हुई है. हम सबको याद है वो दिन कितने पीड़ादायक थे जब पिछले साल कई हॉस्पिटलों में आग लगी, और वो बड़ी दर्दनाक स्थिति थी. बहुत मुश्किल समय था वो. अनेक लोगों को इन हादसों में अपनी जान गंवानी पड़ी थी. इसलिए मेरे सभी राज्यों से आग्रह है कि अभी से हम विशेषकर हॉस्पिटलों का सेफ्टी ऑडिट करवाएं, सुरक्षा के इंतजाम पुख्ता करें और प्राथमिकता के आधार पर करें। ऐसी घटनाओं से हम बच सके।
Now, shifting focus, we have been bringing to you stories that talk about civic apathy claiming lives. Another one of such cases has now come out of Tamil Nadu's Thanjavur, where 11 people, including 3 minors, were electrocuted after a temple chariot came in contact with high-voltage live wire during a procession. After ordering a probe into the tragedy, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin visited the mishap site, met with the injured and also the families of the deceased. Moreover, the Chief Minister has announced a solatium of 5 lakh rupees each to the families who've lost their kin in the mishap and also 1 lakh rupees for those who have been severely injured. Meanwhile, politics over the tragedy continued unabated. Earlier, the opposition AIADMK staged a walkout over the Thanjavur tragedy, putting the government under the mat and questioning the administration.
தஞ்சாவூர் மாவட்டத்தில் தஞ்சை ஒன்றியத்தில் களிமேடுங்கிற கிராமத்தில் அப்பர் துண்டு துண்டாக நாங்கள் 94 வருடமாக அப்பரை வணங்கிக்கிட்டு ரொம்ப சீரு சிறப்பாக திருவிழா கொண்டாடிட்டு வரோம். வரும்போது 11 மணிக்கு சப்பரத்தை தெருவில் இழுத்துக்கிட்டு தேங்காய் உடைச்சிட்டு வரும்போது திடீருங்கிற திருப்புற இடத்துல மின்சாரம் மேல் லைனில் போகும்போது மின்சாரம் தாக்கி சப்பரமே திக்கு எரிய ஆரம்பிச்சிருச்சு. அதில் கரண்ட் ஆஃப் ஆனோன்னா யார் எந்த பிள்ளை அடிபட்டு கிடக்கான் கீழேன்னு இருட்டில் ஒன்றுமே தெரியல. அதனால் நான் எல்லாத்தையும் மெடிக்கலுக்கு தூக்கிட்டு வந்தோம். அதில் எங்கள் வீட்டில் இருந்த பையன் ஒரு கவிசிங்கிறவனை எனக்கே தெரியல. அவனும் ஆஸ்பத்திரியில் நான் வைத்தியம் பார்த்துக்கிட்டு இருக்காங்க. இங்கே வந்து அதிகாரி டாக்டரு டீனு எல்லா பேரும் நல்லபடியாக வைத்தியம் பார்த்துக்கிட்டு இருக்காங்க. களிமேடே ரொம்ப சோகத்தில் இருக்குது. களிமேடே இனிமேல் இது இந்த சோகத்தை எங்களால் மறக்க முடியாது. இது எப்படி மறக்க முடியாது.
So I heard about it. It was the program of the local people near bordering Thanjavur. They had this cart program. They had done that. See, the state local electricity authorities have stopped electricity within the town, that area. But when the cart was pulled on the street, it touched the high tension wire on the road, which was accidental. It was not planned, which was accidental. You know how when a cart is pulled, you know how it will move. The weight of the cart will decide its direction and movement. So it was merely an accident. It was not, nobody can stop. Even if there were 100 policemen, how can they stop it? So this is a mere accident. We sympathize with the people. They had done it with good intention, but unfortunately this accident has occurred.
Shifting focus to the state of Kerala now, and well-known Malayalam producer-actor Vijay Babu has been accused of sexually assaulting a female actor and disclosing the survivor's identity through a social media live session. Vijay Babu has, however, denied the charges and also said that he is innocent. The woman, who appeared in movies produced by Vijay Babu's production house, filed a complaint with the police on April 22nd and detailed it through a Facebook post over the physical assault that she suffered and also the sexual exploitation she had suffered at the hands of the producer-actor for the past 1.5 months. So after the leap, another actor from the Malayalam film industry is now facing sexual assault charges. My colleague Vivek Karindalam joins me live on the broadcast for more on this. Vivek, notoriety actually precedes the Malayalam film industry. After Dilip, it is Vijay Babu now.
Exactly. It's a very unfortunate incident that, has been come to light where an actress who has been part of Vijay Babu's production house recently has alleged that he has sexually assaulted her multiple times in between March 2021 and April 2024. And she has filed a complaint after which an FIR has been registered. Now, what is even more shocking is that the producer has come in a Facebook Live yesterday, a late night, saying that he has nothing to do with the incident and he's been made a scapegoat in this incident. What is even more unfortunate is that the victim's name, the identity has been revealed multiple times. Now, serious charges charges are being made against producer Vijay Babu. He's absconding right now. Police says his arrest will be made very soon on this complaint that's been registered. The film industry is extremely shocked, and even the WCC has demanded the arrest of producer cum actor Vijay Babu.
Absolutely. Vivek, thank you so much for joining us with all those details there. And like I was mentioning, after Dileep, it is Vijay Babu. We'll continue to track in all the developments on this developing story right here on the broadcast. Meanwhile, slipping into a very short break here on Mirror Now. News and updates continue on the other side as well. Stay tuned for more.
उफ यार स्वेट से नहा गया अब स्वैग से ना
Hindware Italian Collection.
स्वैग से करेंगे सबको रिफ्रेश
Official refreshing partner of Punjab Kings.
Welcome back to Nation Tonight. I am Griha, and let's shift our focus to the state of Uttar Pradesh, where post the row in Maharashtra over loudspeakers, they now seem to be blaring in UP, where more than 750 loudspeakers have been removed from both the mosques and temples across the state. State government now says that loudspeakers removed are illegal, and they were in fact removed after consultation with different religious leaders. In a law and order review meeting last week, Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath had in fact instructed special measures to be taken following the violent clashes in Delhi's Jahangir Puri ahead of Eid and Akshay Tritiya early next month. My colleague Amir Haq now joins me on the phone line for more on this. Amir, how has the implementation really happened when it comes to the removal of all these loudspeakers that we've been talking about, which are in fact illegal from the state of Uttar Pradesh?
Well, all of this actually started in a meeting, in a law and order review meeting that was presided over by Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath last week itself, where it was decided that loudspeakers across the state in various districts and in various religious places of worship were actually the permissible limit. And especially since the Supreme Court had years back specified the decibel level at which such loudspeakers can actually be played, the Chief Minister asked all commissioners, the local administrator, including the district magistrate and district police chief, to ensure that such loudspeakers are turned, the volume of such loudspeakers is turned down to the mandatory level, and also to remove all such illegal loudspeakers that have been put up on religious places and otherwise, which have no sanction from local authorities as well as the government. Now, the Chief Minister has also made clear that any such place which has a loudspeaker which has been put up without taking due permission from the government and local administration cannot actually stay there. It will have to be removed. Why over the last 1 week, there are thousands of speakers also atop religious places, including both mosques and temples, that whose volumes have been turned down. Hundreds of such places from where these extra illegal loudspeakers have been taken off. Now, the good thing is that the administration, that the Yogi government is ensuring that there is no such opposition to removal of such loudspeakers, which might actually create a law and order disturbance on the ground. And therefore, all of this has actually been done over the last 1 week in a very amiable atmosphere, very amiable environment. The Uttar Pradesh government actually needs to
absolutely, Amir,
because in all such states we have seen from Delhi to Rajasthan to Madhya Pradesh, also to Maharashtra, definitely, wherein clashes have been reported. There has been a lot of bad blood over removal of such loudspeakers. But Uttar Pradesh, being the most popular state, it definitely deserves a lot of credit that nowhere has law and order been disturbed, and people are quite voluntarily fully removing their illegal loudspeakers or turning down the volume of loudspeakers that have put atop temples as well as mosques.
Absolutely. Amir, thank you so much for joining us with all those details. And like my colleague Amir was mentioning, it was a very amiable atmosphere and it was done with proper consultation from the various sides once this particular loudspeaker removal drive was actually carried out in the state of Uttar Pradesh. But what really, followed and what really led to this particular decision, in fact, let's talk about that. This all happened after the violence that actually was reported out of the national capital from Jahangirpuri. Now, after the recent anti-encroachment drive that really took place in Delhi's Jahangirpuri area, now a similar drive is expected in national capital's Shaheen Bagh area as well. The South Delhi mayor today reviewed the encroachments in all the 4 zones in the South Delhi area. He also assured action against encroachers within a day or 2. Now, apart from Shaheen Bagh, similar drives are also set to be conducted in Tilak Nagar and Okhla as well. The move comes after Delhi BJP chief had written to the mayors of South and East corporations on April 20th, seeking the removal of encroachments by quote-unquote Rohingyas, Bangladeshis and anti-social elements in their areas.
आज काफ़ी जगह चिन्हित की गई और काफ़ी जगह से शिकायतें जो मिल रही थी वो कहीं में सच में शिकायतें थी। अतिक्रमण पूरा यहाँ पर कुछ लोगों के द्वारा जोरों पर है, उसको हम हटाने का काम करेंगे, शीघ्र उस पर एक्शन लेने की कार्रवाई करेंगे।
तो अभी तक कोई डेट प्लान नहीं?
डेट हैज बीन प्लान ऑलरेडी, एवरीथिंग इज प्लान। वो बड़ी जल्दी आपको 1-2 दिन में देखने को मिलेगा, सुनने को मिलेगा और आपको कवर करने को भी मिलेगा।
और जो लोग खाली करेंगे वो जगह, उनके लिए कोई सुविधा कुछ?
ना ही हमने कब्जा करने को बोला था, ना ही हमने अतिक्रमण करने को बोला था, ना ही हमने अवैध निर्माण करने को बोला था। और वो उसके बाद हमारी ड्यूटी हमारी भी नहीं है। हमारा काम है, एमसीडी का काम है कि चीज़ों को सुचारू रूप से चले, साफ सुथरी जगह हो, साफ सुथरी दिल्ली हो और इनक्रोचमेंट हटाना हमारा दायित्व बनता है।
My colleague Alok now joins me on the broadcast. Alok, the SDMC mayor seems to be quite elated about this entire encroachment drive. This despite what really came out of the court, where the matter still is sub judice when it comes to the encroachment drive that was about to be carried out in the Jahangirpuri area. And now we might just see similar instances occurring from various other places in the national capital.
See, Griha, there are 2 things. One is whether these encroachments which are done by the people, whether they will be served any notices or not. This is one question. And the second question is that whether it is actually the authorities, basically MCD, wants to conduct this anti-encroachment drive, or they are doing this selective anti-encroachment drive. Because if you see that particular areas, and whether it's Shaheen Bagh or Madanpur Khadar areas where particular section people are staying over there, and yes, definitely we are seeing that there are many encroachments done over there, but in many parts of the national capital, many of the encroachments are done. So if they are doing it, then why they are doing it just right now? Why it's that MCD where the BJP rule is there? It's for past 15 years. Why they did not do anything at that point in time? Why it is coming right now? So definitely these are the questions that need to be raised, and we have to see. Yes, definitely if the encroachment is there, definitely it should be removed, and we have to see that how the things will pan out, because there is the possibility law and order situation may also take place, because definitely the people will resist of this anti-encroachment drive. Back to you.
Absolutely, Alok. Thank you so much for joining us with all those details there. Something that the national capital will witness, might just witness in the days to come. We'll have to wait and watch and track all the developments on this particular story as well. Let's now shift focus to the state of Karnataka, and the State Education Board has now issued a show cause notice to Clarence School in Bengaluru, demanding an explanation on its decision to mandate the teaching of Bible to all students. The Education Board has given the school a week's time to respond. Meanwhile, Mirona also spoke to State Education Minister, who in fact said that no religious books can be taught in schools and that the schools have, in fact, Clarence School has 7 days to respond and explain their stand.
According to our act, they cannot teach any religious books in the schools. Neither they can force any student to practice their religious deeds. So the school has done a mistake. So BO has given a notice to them. We have given 7 days to answer. After getting the answer, definitely we will take our legal opinion and do according to the act.
Now, this seems to be a clear turnaround from BC Nagesh's earlier comments where he had in fact claimed that Bhagavad Gita isn't a religious book. And that is the argument that the Campus Front of India is leading with when its members protested against the Karnataka Education Minister in Mangalore, outside the very building where he was attending an event. Now, the protesters shouted slogans against BC Nagesh and also demanded his resignation over his statements. My colleague Neha Hebale joins me on the broadcast for more on this. Neha, demand of resignation of BC Nagesh, something that's coming out of Karnataka, everything but education.
Well, that's the biggest concern that remains over here in the state of Karnataka as issues are turning communal, as issues are turning political, with parties going at each other's throats over issues over here. It seems like the common man, and in this case, unfortunately, it is the students who are affected. Just a quick brief about what really happened in this case and what the stand is right now. Well, this happens to do with the Clarence High School in Bengaluru. Well, in fact, the school over here on their part has mandated that the parents sign an undertaking which says that they would not have any objection to the students carrying a Bible to the school every day. However, this issue was raked up by the right-wing organizations over here in the state. They took the matter to the government right now. And we're seeing the education minister issuing a notice, or a show cause notice rather, to the school. But the larger question over here still remains that over all these years now, parents in fact, have argued that over all these years now, there's never been this issue as the school has always had this clause, and that, this is one of the more reputed schools is what the parents claim. So what really, of course, remains to be seen at this point is the kind of response that comes in from the school. We also understand that the Archbishop over here has defended the school, stating that, there's nothing really wrong in what is being carried out. So what we are also expecting now is that tomorrow, which is in fact, Thursday, we would be seeing a joint press conference of the Archbishop as well as of the school, wherein, possibly they're going to clarify their stand on this issue. But the government over here firm, they have issued a show cause notice. The school is likely to respond in about a week's time now. And we'll really have to see where the logical conclusion to this argument comes to, as it is ultimately the students' lives and the students' education that's already suffered a lot now through the pandemic that's at stake.
Absolutely. Neha, thank you so much for joining us with all those details. Can't allow education to be derailed once again in the state of Karnataka, and the authorities really need to stand together and do something about it. Let's get you some breaking news updates now amid the blame game between the centre and the state over fuel tax. Now, centre has released the GST compensation status, and this has been done by the finance minister of the country, Mrs. Nirmala Sitharaman. What has she gone ahead and said? Let's actually cut across to my colleague Hina Gambhir for more on this. Hina, there has been a counter that has already been released by Amit Malviya in response to all these comments that have been coming from all the non-BJP ruled states. Now, this one is by the finance minister. What is she saying here?
Well, absolutely. War of words, Griha, is just intensifying ever since Prime Minister Modi raised this issue of how certain non-BJP ruled states have now reduced VAT. Have not reduced VAT, and this is like an injustice to the people of those particular states. And then we got political reactions. Mamata Banerjee, West Bengal's chief minister, in fact, was the one who said that central government has not paid its dues. It is sitting on GST dues and earning taxes instead from the state. It is denying what we deserve. Cess is being imposed. Central government owes 90,000 crore to us. So that was a statement by West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee. Now this evening, the Ministry of Finance has released a detailed GST compensation status report. In fact, the note says, status note on GST compensation released to states and union territories. 2.78 lakh crore as compensation to states, according to the centre, was released in the year 2020-21. Nothing is pending for the year 2020-21. Centre says, as far as GST compensation is concerned, for the last financial year, only 78,704 crore rupees is pending. 7.35 lakh crore has already been released by the centre. So this, is just we can only say that war of words is intensifying between centre and states over the issue of fuel tax and now over the issue of compensation, because collectively we have seen many non-BJP ruled states responding to Prime Minister's statement by suggesting that centre is not clearing the dues on time, there is not claims that are being made by the centre. So this is the official response we can say that has now come from Ministry of Finance. We'll see how the states now respond.
Let's now take a look at some other stories doing the rounds from all across the country. Now, following Delhi High Court's order, nurses at AIIMS Delhi have called off their strike. Court had directed the nurses' union to resume duty at the hospital immediately and ensure general functioning is not impacted. This has happened after the nurses went on strike over suspension of their union's president, who has been accused of misbehavior with the resident doctors. The Supreme Court has set May 5th as the deadline for centre to respond to all petitions that challenge the constitutional validity of the sedition law. The clutch of petitions that demand scrapping of the penal provision of sedition in India will be heard together on 5th of May. The Supreme Court has made it very clear that they will not grant any more time and no adjournments will be entertained. The Central Bureau of Investigation has moved the Delhi High Court, challenging special CBI court's order that asked investigating agency to withdraw the lookout circular against former Amnesty International chairperson Akar Patel. Karnataka government has transferred the office in charge of police recruitment department in connection with the PSI recruitment scam. The concerned officer, Amrit Paul, has been posted as Additional Director General of Police, Bengaluru, until further orders. And Deepika Padukone will be part of the main jury at the Cannes Film Festival. The 75th edition of the festival will be presided by French actor Vincent Lindon. Let's now shift focus to the national capital. 24 hours on, and the fire at North Delhi's Bhalaswal landfill site is still raging on. Remember, we spoke about this last evening at the same time, and even after one day, the fire is not yet doused. In fact, these are the dramatic visuals of the huge mound of garbage that caught fire late last night. As a result of the massive smoke, a primary school that's been run by an NGO has been forced to shut down. And Delhi Environment Minister Gopal Rai has now asked the Delhi Pollution Control Committee to submit a report on the landfill fire within 24 hours.
तो एमसीडी ने कोई रिपोर्ट नहीं सौंपी है, तो आज एक बार रिपोर्ट आ जाती है डीपीसीसी की, उसके बाद फिर हम इसको लेकर के एक्शन प्लान बनाएंगे। कि भाजपा के लोगों को सबसे पहले आज भलसवा में जा करके और सर्वे करना चाहिए कि आखिर 15 साल में उन्होंने क्या किया था कि जो आज दिल्ली के लोगों को इस तरह से आग से जूझना पड़ रहा है। सारी चीज़ ये क्यों बौखलाए हुए हैं? इस सारी बौखलाहट के पीछे एक कारण है, 15 साल से एमसीडी में भाजपा है ना, 15 साल से आज जब इनकी नैया डूब रही है, दिल्ली के लोग इंतजार कर रहे थे कि अब चुनाव होगा और इनकी विदाई करेंगे, तो केंद्र सरकार का उन्होंने आड़ लिया और चुनाव टाले। अब इनको लग रहा है कि यार चुनाव जब भी कराएंगे दिल्ली के लोग विदाई ही करेंगे। 15 साल बहुत हुआ है भ्रष्टाचार।
Shifting focus now, the price band for India's biggest IPO, LIC, has been fixed at 902 rupees to 949 rupees with a discount of 60 rupees for policyholders. Now, the much-awaited IPO of the state-run insurance behemoth is set to open on May 4th, and the government is expected to sell 3.5% of its stake in LIC for about 21,000 crore rupees. We, in fact, had that press conference of LIC this morning.
Contrary to what people thought, LIC adapted to the competition, it grew its technology, it made strides in competitive market and held on to more than normal market share not seen elsewhere in the globe. So I call this phase LIC 2.0. And now that the time has come for LIC to be listed, I believe all LICians will work together to make this a huge success. And from now on, we will call it LIC 3.0.
All the details of this much-awaited IPO of LIC have been released today in a press conference where we saw LIC chairman and Tuhin Kantapande, the DIPAM secretary. So here's everything you need to know about this mother of all IPOs, the biggest IPO for India, LIC IPO. This opens on 4th of May and the window will remain open till 9th of May. There are in total a little over 22 crore shares up for grabs as the government is selling 3.5% stake out of 100% stake that it owns in Life Insurance Corporation, India's biggest insurance company. And after the issue is listed on 17th of May on the stock exchanges, we are being told that the government will continue to hold 96.5% stake in LIC, but people will hold 3.5% stake in LIC. Now, there are some very interesting details. For example, 2.21 crore shares that are going to be up for grabs are going to be there for the policy holders of LIC. And for them, there is a specific discount of 60 rupees per share. However, if you're the employee of LIC or if you are the retail investor, then there is a discount of 45 rupees and around 15 lakh shares are reserved for the employees of LIC. Some more details have also been given by the government. The listing is going to happen on 17th of May and the government is looking to get somewhere around 21,000 crore rupees from this LIC IPO.
Let's shift focus now and talk about what is happening in the world of films. Well, be it RRR or even KGF Chapter 2, films have come out of the southern film industry. All of them, in fact, have been raking in the moolah at the box office. And hailing just this was South star Sudeep. That is when the language debate once again made it to the headlines. Bollywood actor Ajay Devgan and Makki star Kicha Sudeep engaged in the language war. The two got into a Twitter spat over Hindi and whether it is the national language or not. So some backgrounder here. It all started after Sudeep made a statement at a film event and said that, and I quote him here, Hindi is no more a national language, unquote. Now, post this, the Singham star too took a dig at the Kannada star. However, Sudeep later clarified that the context in which he'd made the statement was a different one and it was not intended to provoke, hurt or start a debate. Meanwhile, Karnataka Congress leader Siddaramaiah has waded into the entire language controversy, saying that Hindi never was the language, the national language, and earlier as well. A.R. Rahman and actor Prakash Raj have showed strong opposition to Home Minister Amit Shah's statement on Hindi as the national language. Let's now shift focus. With the onset of the summer season, the trouble of water scarcity has grown, and presently the summer is showing no signs of respite, especially in Delhi and NCR. But apart from the scarcity, contaminated water has now become a bigger concern for residents of Delhi and Noida. Now, residents of Delhi's Lakshmi Nagar and Meethapur have alleged that the neighborhood supply of drinking water, which is maintained by the Delhi Jal Board, is contaminated. Mirror Now's Alok spoke to the residents on this issue and also reached out to Delhi Jal Board over the same. However, we didn't get any response from them. Let's take a look.
The water problem has also started. Yes, I am in the national capital. This is South Delhi and this place is called Mithapur in Jaipur area. And here the people are facing a lot of problem due to water. And the water is coming contaminated. And the people are facing a lot of challenges because sometimes the water comes, sometimes the water does not come. And whenever it comes, it is completely contaminated water, dirty water. क्यों आंटी आप लोग का जो पानी आता है वो स्मेल भी देता है, गंदा है एकदम?
हाँ, गंदा है, बदबू आती है।
बदबू आती है।
हाँ।
और कब से ये आ रहा है ये सर?
जब से कनेक्शन लिया हमने तब से ही आ रहा है।
साल हो गया कनेक्शन?
3-4 साल तो हो गए होंगे।
तो जब से यहाँ पर रह रहे हैं तभी से आपने कनेक्शन लिया और हमेशा पानी गंदा ही आ रहा है?
नहीं, कनेक्शन तो बाद में लिया है।
हाँ।
तो जब से कनेक्शन लिया तब से पानी गंदा आ रहा है।
गंदा आ रहा है। कभी कंप्लेन वगैरह किया आप लोगों ने?
कंप्लेन लोग किए हैं, लेकिन अब कोई सुने तब तो। अब जब से उस दिन आप आए थे,
हाँ,
ले गए।
तभी देखा था। हाँ। अच्छा ये बताइए भैया, आप कैसे मतलब नहाना धोना बिल्कुल नहीं हो पाता या तो पीने का पानी का
वो तो बिल्कुल बेकार, पानी तो इस्तेमाल के लायक नहीं है। पानी तो वैसे हम पीने वगैरह का बाहर से लाते हैं, ये पानी तो बेकार है। ये समर सीवर का जो हम कपड़े वगैरह के लिए इस्तेमाल करते हैं, ये जो बाहर का सप्लाई का है वो बेकार है।
तो मतलब इतनी स्थिति खराब है कि आप लोग जब पानी खोलते हो तो घर में स्मेल हो जाती है?
हाँ, जैसे लगती है टैंक की पानी आ रही है, ऐसी आती है पानी। होता है
नाले
का पानी आती है पूरी। अच्छा। बहुत गंदा पानी है, यूज करने लायक नहीं है।
And that's the time that I had on the broadcast. In fact, I am slipping into a very short break with that. But on the other side, you will be joined by my colleague Tamanna Inamdar. Stay tuned for that.
कल हम सफर बनने का वादा तुमसे, अपने सपनों को ना छोड़ने का खुद से।
जिन्हें अहमियत है वादों और इरादों की, उनके लिए SBI लाइफ। करो पूरे अपने इरादे, अपनों से किए सभी वादे। SBI लाइफ, अपने लिए अपनों के लिए।
If it's people's policy, shouldn't the people be at the center of it? It has been 15 years. Why is my city still underwater?